All right, guys. Well, as you saw, we worked pretty late trying to get this thing up and going. Um, it is finally up and running. It was no big deal. We just used two 2x6s that are about 18 feet long and two 1x6s that were about 18 feet long. That's all we used for this. I just had these pieces laying around, scrap wood from construction project or something else. But in case you have to go purchase them, those are the pieces I used in order to construct this. I'll also put down in the notes what those are. So as you can see, we just took the extra 2x6s and created a lean-to system out of it. Just like this, put a couple of corner brackets in place to help give it some stability. One other thing that you could do is put a crossbar down here to strengthen it even more. And one very important thing you want to also make sure to do with your array, especially if you're doing something like this, a lean-to, is to anchor it down. I used a local tree to go ahead and anchor it down. It's very rocky around here, so it's not too easy to put a good ground spike or a good ground screw in. So I'm just going to use the tree. It's also pretty woodsy around here, so I'm not too worried about too much wind coming this direction. But I believe it's well anchored for this. The other thing that we can do is also take something very heavy, maybe like a cinder block, and tie a cinder block to this right here, pulling down. Could be something else that we could add to this just to make sure that we had some extra weight to it. And it's also going to depend on your situation and where you're mounting yours. If you're following along, how you're going to need to anchor yours. But just make sure to consider wind and 80-mile-an-hour wind, 70-mile-an-hour wind, worst case scenarios, and can your system withstand it, and or do you need to lay it down if a storm of that size or magnitude is coming? So now that we've got this guy up and going, want to make sure to stretch your cables out, lay them out, put them in the sun, heat them up, stretch them out. They'll be much easier to run. I need to run the cables now from the shop to here, and the thought so far is to run it to the corner and run it down the side and down underneath of the shop, so the cable will be out of the way underneath of the shop. We will come up right here on the side and go right in through the vent, maybe on the other side of the internet here, so we don't have any issues with that possibly. The cable I am using is outside and ground rated, so it'll be just fine. Any materials you guys do use in your project, if you are copying me, make sure that this is pressure treated wood. If I did not mention that before, you need to use pressure treated wood and not just regular wood. It will rot. Your screws will not last. Your panels will fall off. So guys, consider the elements. The sun will eat your stuff alive. If you're using zip ties, make sure to use black zip ties, just like those down there. Those are dirty, but generally black zip ties imply that they are rated to be put into the sun, just like the sheathing on the wire that we're going to run between the two sites. So this is a 10 gauge wire. It's good for 100 feet. I'm just going to merely attach a screw or some sort of eye hook right here at the top and run that eye hook and attach one here and just run the cable between here and there. So stay tuned, guys, and this is one I'm going to go ahead and get done, and we'll move on to the next steps. All right, guys, got the cable ran. It wasn't too hard. Just going to need a couple eye hooks, a hammer, and a screwdriver. Tap them in a good 1/4 inch and start screwing them in. And good suggestion would be to leave plenty of extra cable in the back. Maybe we need to move this thing. Just plenty of extra possibilities that you may need a little extra cable. So I would leave some extra cable here on this side. Got it attached to the top using 2 zip ties. Remember, make sure to use something rated for the sun. One would probably do. Just went ahead and did 2. Twisted it a little bit so they kind of stayed together. zip tied them. And same thing over here. I need to power wash my shop. Just been so busy with the kiddo and new life adjustments. So I just ran the wire behind here. And I'm gonna have to put some new ends on these guys, make some connections, and use the other set of cables to run it underneath of the shop. So I'm gonna go ahead and stretch those cables out and start moving ahead. All right, guys, well, I made a silly mistake. Unfortunately, I forgot to label which end was which, so that before I can put the connectors on. So the easiest thing to do in order to trace it is you're going to need to have your multimeter, and you're going to need an extra wire. I just plugged into this one, the male and female, so that way I can trace this one back and I'll at least know which wire is which. On your multimeter, we just need to put it on the little squiggly line, which is going to know us that we're going to have a continuous loop. So now that we're all set up and ready to go, let's see if I can adjust the phone so that I can hold these wires, and we can see if this is going to tell us which one is the actual wire we need. So, nope, not this one. Oh, let's try the other one. There we go. That's the wire we needed. So it was the wire still with the tip on it right there. So now we've got that figured out. We'll go ahead and mark these. And before we adjust or mess with the other 40-foot cables that we have here, we will go ahead and mark those cables to make sure we got it done. All right, guys, it's the next day. This project's taking much longer than I anticipated, but I do have a small child at home and have to keep up with work and everything else, not to mention I'm doing this over the Christmas holidays, so it shouldn't really be that big of a deal if you had the time to just come out here and dedicate for a day. But as you can see, I went ahead and got everything tied in to the extension. I used the 40-foot cable to get us to this point. I just tucked the wires in here, right behind the back part, so no big deal. From the top down, I put a loose clamp here so that I can move them if I need to. This is designed to be my disconnect location. So in case for whatever reason I need to disconnect anything from the panel, I can simply just pull it right here. So that'd be really easy. I have read about some fuses, although this is pretty small. If I do want to pick up one of the inline fuses, I would simply put them in place right here. So that would be a really easy addition to do later on. It's something I am considering doing. But for the size of this array, I'm being told it's really not necessary, but you know, what does it hurt for whatever, $20 to throw an inline fuse? So that may be another video later on that we will add. So we start the solar array set up here with the wire going across. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at where we've run the wire underneath. We have an extra bundle. I always like to leave extra wire. You never know when you need it. Just like at the back of the panels. For whatever reason, we might want to extend it or add something to it, and we have the wire available if it's needed. So I just simply ran it up, tucked it in again, and did a little S-loop just so we don't have to take the wires in too tight or crimp them. I don't think it would make a big difference, but I just thought this would be the nicest way to do it. I do need to go to Lowe's or go garage hunting and see if I can't track down another clamp for here. And here, I do need to also put some silicone right here. This is a rub point with metal on the plastic, so there is a possibility over a very long period of time that they could rub through and you could have an arc point. This is high voltage. So just to be safe, I'm going to put some silicone there to help prevent any movement and to help also to protect it. So let's go inside and take a look at what's going on inside as we go into the glass shop. So there we go. We are going to mount this guy right there in the corner as we saw in the first video. We have not, everything is set up, staged now. All we've got to do is actually install this, and this should be pretty easy as well. Maybe another 20 or 30 minutes. We should have it up and mounted. We just have to attach one screw here, which is the AC out, and then one for the AC in, the PV panels, and then connect our batteries for over here. I'm probably just going to use one battery as a test to see what what we can do with a single battery, and then maybe add the second battery, and we'll test that as well, and try to really get a good idea of what the system can perform. So there you guys go. Stay tuned. Make sure to check out the next videos as they come up, and we actually finish putting the system in, testing it out, seeing what kind of wattages we get, especially with me living in the woods. How long does this last? How much crypto can we earn? All right, guys, remember, give it a thumbs up if you like the video. Tell your friends and family. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the little bell so you get the notification when the next video comes out. Talk to you guys later on. See ya.